Come on, lighten up. Have a whiff. Better. Now we can talk.
Goodbye. Need to see it.
Suit yourself. Fucking tricked out, state-of-the-art this thing. Don't even got no standard port.
June is Icons Month at IGN, where we're profiling iconic video game industry figures,
Pop quiz,
characters,
hotshot. The
series,
year is
and
2077 and you're a cybernetically augmented street samurai trying to make ends
Today,
meet in the
story director
neon-soaked
at
concrete
CD
jungle of
Projekt
Night
Red
City.
discusses
But there's
how
one
studio
problem.
fills
The
its games
cybernetic
with
ghost...
meaningful choices and iconic consequences.
My name is Marcin Blacha. I'm working in CD Projekt Red as the story director, and in The Witcher 3 I was working as the lead writer. In CD Projekt Red we want to build worlds that are believable and the worlds that are really engaging. The Witcher is set in a really grim and gritty world, and we always want to keep this world to be realistic. That's the reason why we avoid black and white choices, because they put the gamer out of the experience. In Witcher games we want to talk about serious problems, about complex situations, about things that sometimes make the player uncomfortable. So we avoid black and white choices because they are not emotionally engaging. The world outside is not black and white, it's not simple. And when you want to create something as engaging as the real world, you have to avoid black and white choices. When you are doing a game with many choices and consequences, you can always fall into a trap and you start to creating a pattern. It's easy to recognize this pattern. And sometimes I play video games or I watch movies and at some point I start to see the pattern, and then I know what's going to happen next, and I know who done it, and who's the murderer. And we want to avoid it because we believe that our players are smart people, and we don't want them to be bored by the game. So what we do is sometimes consequences in our games rely on many choices. For example, with Ciri, the fate of Ciri depends on many choices, and sometimes, on the other hand, very heavy consequence relies on something really simple and something trivial, and that's the case of Anna Henrietta. We want the player all the time to be aware and suspicious that we are planning something really bad, so we want the player to pay attention and we want to surprise him all the time.
We shall go, accompanied by the best possible escorts. You, Captain, and Geralt.
So when we are working on our stories, usually we add those more meaningful choices and consequences later. And we do it because we want to be really familiar with all the stories we are crafting and with all the characters. For example, pretty late we understood what should happen to Ciri at the end, and I think it was a natural process because we had some ideas how to end the game, but after reworking and reworking and reworking it again, I think this enlightenment wasn't possible at the beginning of the process. Games right now visually they are like movies, and pretty soon they will be exactly like the movies, and I think that the games will start to look for their own identity, and they will find this identity in interaction. And what is interaction? It's choice and consequences. In the case of the story, you are choosing between two paths of the story or two moral choices. Let's say you play a game and you have this moment when you have to choose between something and something. At this moment in modern games, usually you can pretty much guess what is going to happen if you choose this thing, and what will happen if you choose the other thing. The new generation of consoles will bring us more complex and more mature games. I expect that the storytelling will be more subtle and that you won't have these gamey moments. You will be just going through a fluent experience when you make choices and when you meet the consequences, but it will be more organic, and you won't see those stitches that are, usually present in modern games.
And you are afraid. You feel fear.
You lie. I don't feel a thing anymore.
Pop quiz, hotshot. The year is 2077 and you're a cybernetically augmented street samurai trying to make ends meet in the neon-soaked concrete jungle of Night City. But there's one problem. The cybernetic ghost of Keanu Reeves lives in your head. What do you do? We'll all find out for ourselves when CD Projekt Red drops Cyberpunk 2077, their ridiculously highly anticipated magnum opus open-world RPG follow-up to The Witcher 3 that's more than 7 years in the making. But you already knew this, and you're probably counting down the days till the game is out. Well, good news, because in just moments, CDPR is giving us some brand new gameplay and a deep dive on what we can expect from Cyberpunk 2077 via the Night City Wire. So wake the f*** up, samurais. We've got a stream to watch.
Masih belum mulai.
Hello, everybody. Max Scoville here, and welcome back to IGN Summer
jadi
of
balik
Gaming.
lagi
It
ke
is
Night
almost
City.
time for the
Night
Night
City itu
City
dia
Wire
terletak
stream, in
di
which CD
California.
Projekt Red will showcase
Terus dia
never-before-seen
terdiri dari
gameplay and reveal new
6
details
daerah lah.
about the world and mechanics of
Itu ada
Cyberpunk
city
2077.
yang
You already knew that,
yang
but we'll keep you company
dikuasai oleh
until then and keep you up to
korporat.
speed on
Terus ada
everything
daerah
we know
namanya
about the game
Watson,
so far.
kayak
But while we
nama
do, there's
swalayan
something
ya.
you can do for us.
Itu
All
dia
summer long, IGN is
diduduki
asking you to
oleh
give to the Bail Project and the
penduduk-penduduk
World Health Organization by
daerah-daerah,
following the links in the video
elit
description
namanya
or by
Westbrook.
heading over to
Terus ada daerah perumahan
donate.ign.com.
namanya
The Bail Project provides bail for families in need of support, in need in support of Black Lives Matter, and the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Response Fund, as you might suspect, is dedicated to studying, treating, and combating the coronavirus pandemic. By donating, you will have a chance to win IGN gift cards, game codes, or swag from companies like Bethesda and PlayStation, and donors who give more than $50 will have a chance to win a custom Summer of Gaming Xbox One X. For even more Summer of Gaming goodness, download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search for IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag for a slew of bonus clips or to upload your own awesome gameplay moments. Or you can leave us a Yappa comment on IGN.com, and your Yap might show up later on the stream. Plus, later today, we've got a Resident Evil 7 speedrun for charity and an episode of Next Gen Console Watch, and you can catch all of it wherever you stream IGN or on channel IGN 1 on your Samsung TV Plus. Anyway, as for Cyberpunk 2077, let us take a quick crash course on everything we know about this ridiculously highly anticipated game, which will all be obsolete when we find out more at Night City Wire. But let's take a look anyway.
In the 7 years since it was first announced, Cyberpunk 2077 has generated a monumental amount of hype, in part by looking awesome in everything that's been shown so far, but also by being developed by the makers of the incredible Witcher RPG series. That developer, CD Projekt Red, has managed to keep our interest peaked by being very tight-lipped about what's in store. However, Cyberpunk is far from an unknown quantity. Here is everything we know about Cyberpunk 2077 as of the middle of 2020. Cyberpunk 2077 is a single-player open-world RPG with real-time combat which is seen almost entirely from a first-person perspective, with the rare exception of a few third-person cutscenes. You'll take on the role of a character known as V, but unlike Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher games, V is totally customizable, from stats and perks to their backstory or life path, and of course appearance, which lets you adjust everything from hair color all the way down to buttocks and genitalia. As the title would suggest, a major element in cyberpunk culture is body modification, cybernetic and otherwise, so expect character customization to be an ongoing thing. Just like in the Deus Ex series, upgrades to V's implants will affect gameplay, whether you're installing high-tech robotic eyeballs that help you aim your guns better, or a translator chip that opens up new dialogue options by making V fluent in a new language faster than you can say Rosetta Stone. In Cyberpunk 2077,
Jadi lebih ke karakter customization sih.
could be applied more organically within the world thanks to the post-human setting. Meanwhile, street cred is an actual in-game stat, so picking out a cool outfit will do more than just make you look like a badass, it'll make NPCs treat you like one too.
Oke, jadi NPC itu akan bisa berpengaruh juga sama pakaian kita. Kalau kita pakai apa, nanti NPC interaksinya apa ya, kurang lebih seperti kayak gitulah. Yang sedang nonton, ini kan yang nonton masih sedikit, tolong bantu share ya, biar kita ngobrol-ngobrol. Ini lumayan, masih belum mulai sih sebenarnya, ini masih trailer aja. Gue coba jelasin semampu gue apa yang dipaparkan oleh si Red Project Red ini. Atau bisa juga komen, biar kita bisa ngobrol.
CDPR has had plenty of world building of their own to do. Even die-hard fans of the original Cyberpunk will almost certainly have plenty of surprises.
Tapi sayang sih gamenya ini ketunda. Harusnya dia keluar September, men.
But it seems like a major factor is the chip embedded in V's head. That sliver of silicon contains the digitized ghost of legendary rocker boy Johnny Silverhand. Johnny is a key figure in the original RPG, but even if you aren't up on your history,
sudah fix ya. Dia bakal jadi satu karakter di game ini. Cuman belum terlalu banyak diungkap sama Red Project-nya. Cuman ada kalau nggak salah 2 trailer yang dikeluarin resmi official sama mereka.
But you can expect way more than a few hastily muttered celebrity one-liners. Keanu spent 15 days recording lines at CD Projekt Red's studio, and as a result, Johnny allegedly has more dialogue than any other character in the game, other than yours, of course. Aside from getting comfortable with this posthumous cybernetic stowaway sidekick, V will have to navigate relationships between Night City's numerous factions. On street level, that means tussling with gangs like, say, the Animals, who are a bunch of steroid-addled bodybuilders, or Maelstrom, whose body modifications are of a more high-tech variety. But on a larger scale, Night City is ruled by massive global corporations that manufacture everything and wield more control over people's day-to-day lives than the government. If The Witcher 3 is any indication, we're in for a substantial main campaign, but CD Projekt Red.
Cuman yang gue tahu ketika kita masuk kendaraan itu dia langsung jadi TPP. Jadi pas keluar kendaraan kita FPS, masuk kendaraan dia jadi TPP.
At a glance, Cyberpunk's combat might look like straightforward first-person gunplay, but you can expect there to be more than one way to tackle your objectives. Depending on whether you choose to lean into combat or less confrontational skills like stealth and hacking, it seems like you'll have plenty of opportunities to talk your way out of tight situations. In terms of geographic scale, CDPR has estimated that Cyberpunk 2077 might be a bit smaller than The Witcher 3 in terms of square mileage, but acreage isn't everything. Night City is
jadi untuk luas daerah mapnya mungkin akan sedikit lebih kecil dari The Witcher 3. Karena mungkin karena daerah-daerah yang kita mainin lebih pack ya, lebih padat gitu, nggak kayak The Witcher. Kalau The Witcher kan daerahnya lebih kayak dataran aja gitu kan. Cuman sepertinya sih tetap agak lumayan juga untuk dieksplor ya.
Expect to cruise around in everything from motorcycles inspired by Akira to kit-bashed muscle cars that pay homage to Mad Max. One thing CDPR has been very open about is Cyberpunk 2077's lack of microtransactions. Like The Witcher 3, there will be substantial free DLC updates post-launch.
Oke, DLC dipastikan bakalan ada, hampir kurang lebih seperti The Witcher 3.
And there's also talk of Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer down the road, but don't expect to see that until
multiplayer akan
2022 at the
diadakan,
very
menarik
earliest.
sih.
So there you have it, a crash course in what to expect from Cyberpunk 2077.
Ya anggap aja
Undoubtedly, we will
Call
all
of
know a
Duty
whole lot
Warzone
more when
tapi
CD Projekt Red
zaman-zaman
shows
masa
even
depan
more in the
gitu kan.
scheduled Night City Wire
Menarik juga,
presentation.
menarik.
And from there, it's just a matter of counting down the days when this game finally comes out.
Nah,
What kind of
ini
character
footage-nya
will
ya.
your first run as VB? Let us know in the comments, and for everything else we find out about Cyberpunk 2077 before and after its launch, stay jacked in to IGN.
We've got to take a quick break right now, but stick around because the Night City
Oke guys,
Wire
16
is
menit
just
lagi ya.
moments away, and later
Jangan
on we still
kemana-mana.
got Next Gen
Bakal
Console
banyak
Watch
yang
2020
bisa
and a whole bunch
kita
more.
obrolin
Keep
bareng.
those donations to the Bail Project and COVID Response Fund coming, and don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
IGN Summer of Gaming is presented
Kalau yang
by
bikin
The
menarik
Last of Us
dari
Part
game
2,
ini ya, kalau
available June
kok The
19th,
Last of Us 2
rated M for mature. By the Army National Guard, working in our communities throughout the COVID pandemic to deliver food, build hospitals, and more. Go to nationalguard.com/esports for more info. And by Fuser, who will be partying with us all summer long.
Oke, balik lagi. Jadi yang menarik dari game ini, kalau dari gue ya, gue cuman penasaran aja karena game ini yang bikin Red Project R gitu, yang bikin The Witcher. Dan kalau memang lu semua pernah main The Witcher, lu pasti tahu bagaimana kompleksnya game itu, bagaimana kompleksnya kostumisasinya, equipmentnya, belum lagi lu harus nyelesain side quest yang hampir ratusan sebenarnya. Jadi ekspektasinya ya kurang lebih hampir model-model kayak The Witcher, tapi lebih fokus ke FPS-nya, senjata-senjatanya. Di trailer yang 23 menit kemarin gue juga lihat ada satu senjata ya, jadi kayak dia ditembak terus pelurunya tuh kayak bisa bending gitu, kayak bisa nyari musuhnya, jadi kayak semacam misil tapi peluru bulat gitu.
You'll get first looks at world premiere game trailers, exclusive game demos, and next-gen console coverage that you won't find on any other network, only on IGN 1.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent going over all the latest news of the day while taking live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us on mixer.com/IGN, youtube.com/IGN, and twitch.tv/IGN. See you there.
And welcome back. We are back, and we are just moments away from the start of CD Projekt's Red Night City Wire stream, and when it kicks off. And before that can happen, we're going to unpack as much of that as we possibly can about what we think is in store. Here to discuss, please welcome IGN's Tina Meany and Paris Lilly of Gamertag Radio. Welcome.
Hi, Max.
Good morning. Exciting day.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So, Paris, I just want to get ahead of this. You got a chance to play the game earlier this week, and you cannot talk about your hands-on impressions quite yet. But can you talk about what you hope to see in this presentation without spoiling anything or getting in trouble with any people with embargoes and NDAs signed in front of them?
Oke, jadi sekarang ini ada dua orang yang sedang diinterview, dan kedua orang ini yang udah dapat early access-nya Cyberpunk. Nah, mereka mau cerita nih apa aja sih yang mereka dapetin. Coba kita dengerin dulu. Terus habis itu coba gue explore, gue elaborasi.
Like I said, the big reveal. I think the biggest thing I want to see out of this is the mega corporations potentially, because we've not had a lot of information about them. So when we talk about that, we're talking about Kang Tao, we're talking about Militech, and we're talking about Arasaka, because I think ultimately they may be the big villains of Cyberpunk 2077. So I really hope we get a focus on those three factions and get a lot more information.
Awesome. Tina, what about you? What are you hoping to see?
I mean, a little bit of the same thing. Like Paris basically alluded to the fact that we have seen a lot, but there's so much that we already don't know too. I mean, this world is going to be big. The storyline is clearly going to be big, filled with characters. So far in a lot of the presentations and demos, we've heard a little bit about that lost society story. We've seen the world and
right
the
now. I think we might have you muted in somewhere else right now.
Sorry.
Okay.
Jadi barusan tadi dia cerita
Can you guys hear me?
kotanya cukup luas, terus juga cerita-cerita side quest-nya tuh cukup kompleks. Oke, ada masalah teknis guys.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that.
Masalah teknis.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I'll recap. I'll recap what I was saying. So yeah, Paris was kind of alluding to the fact that there's a lot that we haven't seen as far as the storyline. So we do have, we know a little bit about that like lost society background. We've seen a couple of forms of quests.
Ada sesuatu yang dinamakan lost society sih.
Been gracious enough to show us and what those different play styles look like. And we know that it's an M-rated game, but I want to see more of that maturity that extends beyond just, customizing your genitals and sex scenes and relationship building.
Okay,
I
yang
want to know
pasti
about
ada
the mature moral complexities in storytelling. And I think Paris, you talking about the villains and the corporations and a lot of those factions and how they're incorporated into that world is going to really bring out what those conflicts are going to be. I want to know who the villains are too. I want to know what my moral gray areas are going to be in terms of picking and choosing different elements of dialogue choices or actions that I want to take. I want to see like the cybernetic body augmentation truly corroding humanity, because so far they've alluded to a lot of, a lost empire, but I want to like see that actually kind of play out and see if that means, is this like a justice versus survival thing? I want to know how painful a decision-making process basically this whole story is going to be for me when I play it out.
Jadi si Tina tadi pengen tahu lebih banyak lagi tentang gamenya, khususnya di bagian kostumisasinya. Jadi nggak cuma sekedar ceritanya, terus scenes-nya dan segala mature kontennya, nggak cuma itu. Dia lebih pengen explore lagi apa yang ada di kota itu. Di kota itu kan ada faction. Dia pengen tahu bagaimana sesama faction ini, bagaimana mereka berinteraksi dan apa hubungannya dengan karakter di game itu. Dan dia juga pengen tahu lebih banyak bagaimana upgrade yang kita lakukan itu akan mempengaruhi sisi kemanusiaan dari si karakternya, karena kan tadi gue jelasin di situ ada implant cyberware kan di situ. Apakah kita akan semakin kita upgrade, semakin kita tinggi, semakin kita menjadi mesin gitu, apakah kita akan berubah gitu karakternya dari sisi kemanusiaannya, apakah akan terkikis sedikit demi sedikit, ya kurang lebih seperti itu. Jadi dia masih penasaran, dia udah coba kayaknya mungkin sebagian dari gamenya doang, dia belum coba semuanya sih kalau yang dari gua tangkap
I think that they're obviously putting a lot of their resources into it. Their delay message was super apologetic. They were really taking what the expectations were going to be seriously. They said something like they knew they would take the heat if it was anything beyond what they'd been hyping it up to be. So I think there's a lot of emphasis that they've put into the fact that they understand expectations of how players' imaginations will kind of run wild, and this is the sandbox environment where they do want it to run wild. They've referenced Rockstar before and Rockstar's style of development. One of the quest designers said something specifically about how they wanted to make sure that the game was available to help engage players that were doing unconventional activities. So I think they're very well aware of what player expectations are. For me personally, the big test is going to be how impactful those consequences are going to be in terms of the storyline, and make it feel like it's organic and natural and not programmed, because let's face it, it is programmed, but it sounds like they certainly have that top of mind.
Definitely. Paris, what about you? What are your thoughts on this in terms of sort of gauging hype safely?
Yeah, I would say on that, my biggest concern would be you have to remember that CD Projekt Red learned how to make an open world game with The Witcher 3. Obviously, it came out to be amazing, and this is going to be even more ambitious with Cyberpunk 2077. So I think are they taking on too much? Are they trying to do too many things at once? Not only is it an RPG, you have these branching storylines, you have this huge open world.
Oke, jadi si Paris ini yang sebelah kanan yang pakai baju hitam, dia lebih khawatir karena kenapa? CD Projekt Red itu kan kita udah tahu dia berpengalaman sekali untuk dalam membuat game-game open world. Nah, tapi dia kan khawatir dengan proyek ini karena ini proyek yang sangat ambisius ya dari apakah mereka mampu untuk membuat ini, apakah mereka mampu membangun storyline-nya dari sekedar cuman game open world biasa yang kostumisasi dan segala macam apa, jadi lebih ke kayak storyline-nya sih. Oke.
By the Army National Guard, working in our communities throughout the COVID pandemic to deliver food, build hospitals, and more. Go to nationalguard.com/esports for more info. And by Fuser, who will be partying with us all summer long.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze.
Oke, kita iklan dulu ya. Jangan kemana-mana. Ini 6 menit lagi, ntar lagi mulai. Stay tune. Sama buat yang sekarang lagi nonton, jangan lupa bantu share ya. Thank you. Gue balik lagi 5 menit lagi.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never before seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speed run of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to Speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
Hey there, do you have opinions on games, movies, TV, or other weird stuff on the internet? You can take part in our new show, Power Ranking, where you can vote on all your favorite things on the internet. Do it now. Do it. Just go. Vote. Go vote.
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent going over all the latest news of the day. We'll take live questions and comments from chat. We're live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Welcome back. And now, not surprisingly, we are not the only ones who are excited for Cyberpunk 2077. I think a lot of people are. Summer of Gaming is presented by the Army National Guard, so let's check in with our gaming guardsmen to see what they're looking forward to in today's Night City Wire event. All right. Well, unsurprisingly, we aren't the only ones excited for Cyberpunk 2077. All right. Summer of Gaming is presented by the Army National Guard, so let's check in with our gaming guardsmen to see what they're looking forward to in today's Night City Wire event.
Hey everyone, my name is Specialist Flores. I'm with the Army National Guard. I'm the Stream Team Media Manager for our esports program, and I'm currently stationed in Texas. When I'm not on guard duty, I actually work in medical billing. However, what I really love is gaming. And for this summer of gaming, what I'm looking forward to the most is the Night City Wire event for Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm really looking for two things. One, I want to see more of a gameplay demo. It's been months since we've seen the last one, and I'm very curious to see what the final product is starting to look like. Now, two is Johnny Silverhand. I want to be able to play Johnny Silverhand at least in a flashback or an origin story. So hopefully they hint at that, because that'd be super cool. Because I mean, come on, who doesn't want to play as Keanu Reeves? Well, in short, I hope y'all are having a wonderful summer of gaming, and see y'all in Night City. Bye.
Okay, so we've had 8 years to prepare for this game, but when everyone finally starts it up, they will undoubtedly spend hours in the character creator. Have either of you put any thought into what kind of V you'll be playing with your first playthrough, Tina?
It's so tough because, well, obviously I'm going to go female V because I usually do for self representation there. But yeah, it's so tough.
I'll sever the link to the BD Roller's sensory array. You'll be able to look around freely. Whole scene's yours. Full cam control in analysis mode, so move around, zoom in and out, whatever else you come up with. Think of it as your own little sandbox. So analysis mode, you control playback. Can even pause when you feel the need. Then you use the editor console to unpause. Try it.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative. You go in, snatch the cash, get out. And we sell the BD to those psycho freaks from the studio. Got it.
Dream as hell, right? Well, that's not all. You can speed things up or rewind, whatever you like. Give it a try. Rewind. Roll it back to the top. All good. Neat. Now try fast forwarding a bit.
Plan simple. Do nothing odd. Don't get creative.
Oke, jadi tadi gue ada masalah teknis dikit, sorry ya. Ini sepertinya kayaknya footage dari memorinya si karakter sih. Kita bisa nge-rewind, kita bisa nge-restart. Jadi kayak semacam kamera kali ya. Gue nggak lihat soalnya adegan sebelumnya gara-gara masalah teknis. Jadi kayak semacam tutorial ya. Oke, kita bisa ngontrol apa yang dibilang sama si NPC loh. Kalau gua nggak salah ya. Oke, ini masih kayak semacam Batman sih, Batman Arkham Knight nih. Ada detective mode-nya. Nah, ini gara-gara mati sih tadi, jadi gua nggak tahu nih lagi apa.
Unbelievable. Seriously, like what's happening right next to me.
Yeah, it's how BD recording implants work. They pick up everything, all the elements in the background. Then an editor tweaks them, makes them pop. Keep playing with the sound, explore it a bit. We'll move on when you
Wanna see you kissing the flooring? Money.
Sometimes you can analyze extra layers in the raw. Stuff the roller's cyberware picked up.
Like what?
Ev's got Kuroshi optics that grab infrared, meaning you should be able to grab heat signatures from her recording.
Huh. Hella nice.
Scanning works on peeps too. Walk up to the wounded chick. Try scanning her. Alright, next thing. Scroll forward to the part where our artist gets a lead injection.
Or I will fucking drop you. I swear to God. Well, now. Fucking head off.
Ini apa sih, kayak semacam mode scan ya?
See that? They shot him and he never saw it coming. But you will. Here it comes. My favorite part of the game. See the blinking thing over the entrance? Surveillance cam.
Oke.
Caught our shooter. You'll see in a sec. Cam feeds to the screen behind the clerk. Roll back to where the screen's in the kid's field of vision. Then scan it.
Mirip-mirip kayak ini sih, apa namanya? Watch Dogs kali ya.
Must have got a nice slice of cred on the black market for a BD like this. BD freaks are ready to pay a preem for a real flatline. Anyway, if you've seen enough, you can exit.
Yeah, it's impressive, right? It's too bad most of the BDs we do here are only good for flogging the log.
So Braindance is a pretty big part of the Cyberpunk universe. It's not just something used for adult films. There is an awful lot to it. And there's two sides I'd really like you guys to help me explore. First is the lore, so how this actually fits into the universe. And then there's the gameplay side, so how players will be interacting with it. So Patrick, could you tell us more about the lore of Braindance?
I would love to.
Oke, ini mau ceritain dulu tentang kisahnya.
Braindance was invented way back in the early 2000s at UC Santa Cruz. It was developed as a way of recording a person's experiences and then playing them back for someone else so that they could relive them as though it was happening to them. It was originally used for things like therapy and prisoner rehabilitation.
Oh, jadi di dunianya Cyberpunk ini semua memori orang-orang itu bisa direkam, terus digunain buat kepentingan-kepentingan seperti terapi, terus penyelidikan. Jadi yang tadi kita lihat itu memorinya seseorang, dan itu filenya bisa kita dapat, terus bisa kita bikin sesuatu kita, playback, rewind segala macam untuk menyelesaikan suatu masalah ya, kurang lebih seperti itu sih. Menarik banget sih, ini menarik, sumpah.
And from the gameplay perspective, we have been working a lot throughout last years trying to figure out the best way how to use the Braindance in the game as a mechanics. So what we have settled on is this Braindance editor mode. As a player, you will be able to run the Braindance in the editor mode and see different clues that have been registered on the peripheral of given actor. Now, as a player, you can slide on the timeline of the recording back and forth, trying to uncover different clues, and that clues are actually telling a story in the game.
Jadi di sini kita sebagai player, kita bisa utak-atik nih rekaman ini, terus kita bisa cari petunjuk, kita bisa cari apa-apa saja yang kita butuhkan untuk menyelesaikan suatu contoh lah ya, kasus lah atau misteri gitu, karena kan
we use Braindance as a storytelling tool. It's not a collectible. It's not something where you're going to go in and you're going to play it and you're going to be like, I've seen this before. What we use Braindance for is to give you a keyhole into the life of the residents of Night City. And we can explore things like childhood trauma, religion, various philosophical ideas.
Jadi balik lagi ya guys, ini adalah restream dari channelnya IGN. Jadi sekitar semacam penjelasan dari developer tentang apa aja yang ada di dalam game ini, dan kita lebih ngeliat lagi apa fitur-fitur yang mereka tampilkan. Nah, gue refresh sedikit fitur yang tadi barusan dijelasin sama mereka itu. Jadi ada namanya BD record. BD record ini adalah sebenarnya memori dari tiap manusia yang ada di Cyberpunk universe, dan itu bisa kita gunain untuk ya tergantung komisi kita, bisa kita pakai untuk penyelidikan, bisa kita pakai untuk mencari bukti-bukti atau clue-clue untuk menyelesaikan misi seperti itu. Ini baru satu BD record ya. Kita lihat nextnya ada apa lagi.
And how did they overcome them, or did they not overcome them, and why? And you can see all of those things in their environment, in their dialogues, in sort of how they operate in the world. And we come up with that for all of our characters. Now you look at someone like Victor Vector, and you're going to see stories about his past in his environment and in his dialogue. You know, we come up with that stuff even if we don't use it in the game, because it helps inform us as to who these characters are.
And for me, I would not be myself if I would not say that I'm the most excited about our quests. Like with our Witcher 3 team, with Patrick and like everybody that has stayed with us since the Witcher 3 time, we really have grown so much. We have learned so much, and we have used all that experience to put them into the quest that we have made. And you will not find really a filler in this game. Like everything has a meaning. Like we put so much effort into making sure that everything is rewarding, is interesting, is talking about characters, as Patrick said, is talking about worlds, is talking about emotions, like touching the player in a really, like a real way. And I just can't wait to find out what you think.
Pavel, I know you mentioned story and quests and writing quests, and when I was last in the studio, I had a look and I saw a notebook on your desk, and I would love for you to show everybody
kalian
this
tahu lah
notebook.
cerita The Witcher seperti apa, bagaimana kisah-kisahnya itu bikin attach sama player. Nah, yang mereka akan tampilkan di sini kurang lebih seperti itu, bagaimana kita menyelesaikan questnya dan bagaimana hubungan dengan NPC-nya, dan itu berkaitan erat dengan cerita-cerita di game. Jadi
pretty much something along the lines of that we're starting with a prototype. And then, you know, I kept on basically noting things that we've been working on for like next years. I remember
nah, ini dia ngeliatin catatannya, bagaimana dia nyusun story-nya nih, dan dia
look on my notebook. I was like, what for actually? And they took some pictures and they told me, yeah, well, you know, because we are looking for a reference material for notes of a psychopathic killer. Yeah, well, you may find maybe
lengkap banget sih catatannya, kacau, rapi, dan ini semua akan ada dalam game.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm pretty lucky because I have read some of the stories that you and the team have written for Braindance, and I'm pretty excited for people to discover them. But before we do finish today's episode, there is just one more thing we'd like to talk about. Earlier in this episode, I mentioned that media have been getting hands-on with the opening of Cyberpunk 2077, and they should be posting their impressions right about now. And if you missed anything from today's episode, don't worry, we'll be uploading everything to our channels very soon. And finally, on behalf of everybody at CD Projekt Red, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us for this, the very first episode of Night City Wire. But don't worry, we'll be back with episode 2 in just a few weeks. So we shall see you soon.
So, sampai ketemu di September nih, katanya.